Hi everyone. I wish this could be a happy vlog like all the rest and share some really great, awesome news, but I can't. Um, I'm titling this vlog Drug Addiction because drug addiction is an epidemic where we live. Yesterday, I called my grandmother uh, and I just asked her, said, how are you doing today? She says, Miranda, um, Shawn, our neighbor, is missing. Now, I will give you a feedback on who Shawn is. He's a guy in his early 30s, and he lived right across the field from my grandparents. And I was really good friends with his mom and dad, his mom and his stepdad. And Jeremy and I would go visit them every day, just walk across the field and visit them. We tried to talk to Shawn and try to befriend him, but he just kind of wanted, he was always wanting to just be by himself, do his own thing. And yesterday when I called, she says he's missing, and she says his aunt and uncle's here and they can't find him. Nobody's heard from him in a few days, and they're calling the police. Well, the police came out, and the policeman shines his flashlight through the back sliding door, and he sees an arm hanging over the side of the couch. And the policeman runs around to the front door, breaks the door down, and finds Shawn dead. There was a syringe needle laying near him, a lighter on the table, and a spoon on the table, showing signs that he had died of a drug overdose, of heroin or some other drug. And they believe he'd been there. He had died 4 or 5 days earlier, and he'd been there dead for about 4 or 5 days. And it's really devastating because his mom is sick. She has an incurable illness in her lungs that she's fighting, and now she has to deal with this, and it's really hard. And then after that happened yesterday, I called my other grandmother, and I was telling her about it. I said, can you just pray, have your church pray for this family? And she says, this is really, there's just so many people overdosing on drugs. And she says, I'm getting ready. My other grandma's church, they'll make food for families for funerals, and they'll have like excuse me, the family come in and have dinner at their church, and they'll serve, the ladies of the church will get together and they'll serve the family. And she says, Miranda, today meaning, she says we're serving a dinner for a family that just lost a family member to a heroin overdose. I this is what's going on in Chillicothe, Ross County. I mean, in southern Ohio, it is so bad. I mean, just central. I mean, I don't know where it isn't bad, where drugs aren't bad, but people are dying. People are taking their food stamps and their welfare money and selling it for drugs, and they're starving their children. Their children are going out with food, without clothing, and this is happening. And this is why we have such a heart for children, and and the homeless, and we don't want to see people die like this. We want to try to reach out, and we did try to reach out to Shawn, but if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, they're just not going to talk to you. And it's really, I just feel so bad for the family. And so if you know if you know of anybody that's showing signs of having a drug addiction or alcohol, or something that is destructive to them that could kill them, you need to try to help them. And I think the church definitely needs to step up. I think we need to stop just pushing it under the rug, because these are our neighbors. These are people that we're seeing. I mean, it kills us, and it killed my grandma. She says, I feel so guilty, like I should have noticed, I should have known something was wrong, and I just didn't. But at the same time, how are you supposed to know what's going on in someone's house when you don't live there? you know I mean, there you're not able to really tell. I mean, it's like you could go break in someone's house to say, see if they're all right, um when there's no sign that he wasn't all right until just yesterday. But I think we need to start. I mean, we didn't know that that was going on. I mean, we had no idea because he never really talked. He wouldn't talk about it. You know, they're not going to just come open and say what they're doing. But if you notice something's wrong, something's just not right, try to help somebody. And if they're openly doing it, trying to get them some help. I mean, the Salvation Army, they have rehabilitation centers where people can go and get help for drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and stuff. And I personally have seen people here where I live uh, get help from the rehabilitation center in Columbus and get clean and start a new life. I've seen it. And there are places out there are organizations out there to help people kick these drug habits. And if you're watching and you struggle with prescription drug addiction, heroin, crack, whatever it is, whatever addiction you're dealing with, you know there are people out there willing to help, try to get you some help. We at JMC Ministries, we're more than happy to try to point you in the right direction to get you help, get you connected with the right kind of people that can help you wherever you're at. But I want to leave you with this. When it comes down to the day you die, what is it that you want people to remember you as? Do you want people to remember you as the druggie that OD'd on heroin? Do you want people to remember you as the drunk that was that died of alcohol poisoning? Do you want to be known as the person that took their own life and committed and hung themselves or something? I mean, your life has a purpose. God made us all with a purpose, and we have a purpose. Not one of everyone is worth saving. From the homeless person that's strung out on drugs in an alley, to somebody like Charlie Sheen who's all screwed up and has riches and everything. God and Jesus died for us all. He cares about everybody, and I think that's what we've got to get back to. But what do you want to be remembered for when you die? When you take your last breath and they stand up and they say, and they're at your funeral, what do you want them to say that they remember you for? I can remember when my grandfather died 2 years ago. In 2 days, they had his viewing. Nearly 500 people came through to show their respects to my grandpa because he helped so many people in the community of Waverly and Piketon, Ohio. He would go out and gather food and donate it to and give it to people who needed food. He would go fix things for people who couldn't afford it, to have pay somebody to go fix it. My grandpa would go fix roofs or paint houses for people, and he was always there for somebody. I mean, I can remember there was this man who who was like a real estate agent or insurance man or something, and he called my Aunt Linda. And it was like 3 or 4 months after my papa had died. And he started talking about my Uncle Tim. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I know your brother Tim." He's, "I just saw Tim and your dad just a few weeks ago or something at out town." And my aunt says, "Don't you know?" And he says, "No, what?" And he says, and my aunt says, "Dad died just a couple months ago." And this man started bawling his eyes out on the phone, and he couldn't deal with it. My grandpa, I don't even know who this man is, but my grandfather impacted this man so much he broke down on the phone with my aunt, and my aunt ended up being the one to console him. And then he called my aunt, or he saw my aunt a few days later, and he said, "I couldn't believe it. I had to go to the cemetery and see for myself. And when I saw his grave, I just broke down and cried at his grave." What do you want to be remembered for when you draw your last breath? After you have drawn your last breath on this earth and you have died, do you want to be remembered as as someone that died of a heroin overdose and a druggie, somebody that, you know, like that? Or do you want to be remembered for showing love and compassion and helping your fellow man and and reaching out to those in need? It doesn't have to be about religion. It doesn't have to be about, whether you're this denomination or that. It has to do with human kindness and respect for your fellow man and finding your purpose in life. What is your purpose in life? What makes your heart beat with joy? What is the one thing you love to do that would help others and um help your community and stuff and make a difference in this world? I think that's what it comes down to. We all have an expiration date. We all have a shelf life, and one of these days we're all going to die. But it's what you do with that shelf life from the beginning of your life to the end. All that in the middle is what matters. Find out what your passion is and what drives you and what affects you in here, and do it. Do it to the utmost, and don't allow stuff, these drugs, to destroy your life, because your life is important and your life is worthwhile. You are worth saving. All of us are worth saving. I don't know what else to say. But it's been a hard 2 days. And I really pray for those who are struggling with these addictions. I have family that struggles with these type of addictions with prescription pills. And you just don't know what to do. You keep, some of the family keeps trying to help and trying to help them and trying to help them, but it sometimes feels hopeless. But God is more powerful than hopeless. God is more powerful than these drugs, and we have to just fully give them over to God and say, "God, you can do all things. I can do nothing. You have the power to change these lives and make them whole again." And I think that needs to be our prayer today. God bless you, friends, and let us not forget to reach out and help our fellow man who's in need.